back to the Lazy Handle Show. I'm your host, Katrina. For today's episode, I'm going to be doing a preview on the 2019 Brier coming up. Today's shout out goes to Indy McGoo, an awesome YouTube subscriber, so keep up the awesome work. Okay, so the 2019 Brier is in Brandon, Manitoba. So you know, Team Carruthers / Mike McEwen, they're the home province favorite, so yeah. So the wildcard game is Epping versus Botcher. That's an awesome match, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. It's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be a close one, actually. And, you know, I'm a big Epping fan. Epping's my favorite team. I love them. But Botcher, to me, has had the better season. They've beaten teams like Gushu, Jacobs. They've beaten Epping. I'm not saying Epping's never beat Botcher, but I think Botcher has the upper hand in this game. So I want Epping to win, but I think Botcher's going to win. So starting in Pool A, Northern Ontario, Brad Jacobs, you know they have Ryan Fryback, which I think he's just going to make their team so much stronger, and I think they're going to come out with a strong record and probably make the playoffs. And then wildcard, you know, Epping, Botcher, no matter who wins, they're going to be great representatives for wildcards, so I think one of those two teams will definitely qualify their team into the championship round. And then Manitoba, Mike McEwen, Reed Carruthers, those two just work so well together. I think it's an awesome team. And, I mean, they are the home province, so, you know, there's going to be a lot of Manitoba fans cheering them on, so they should have a strong week. Because, you know, when you hear that crowd cheering you on, it just makes you want to curl it's so good, and it just makes you want to curl better almost. And then Saskatchewan, Kirk Myers, you know, he used to play actually third for Steve Laycock. He moved up to skip, and then they're having a pretty good season. They won the Tier 2 Tour Challenge, which is fantastic, so they're obviously a strong team. But then chasing their tail is Quebec. Martin Krat, I saw him at the Challenge to Curling to Gatineau. I interviewed him actually, and he's pretty funny, cool, awesome guy. They're a strong team, and you know, Quebec's definitely going to be chasing their tail. And I was like, oh, it's so close between Saskatchewan and Quebec. Who do I pick to make the championship round? And I thought, you know, sometimes not go crazy, but think outside the box, so I decided to pick Quebec actually. So I think Quebec is going to make the championship round. And then you have Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, Yukon, and you know, it's nice to grow the sport, but I don't think any of those teams are going to make the championship round. Then in Pool B, we have Alberta, Kevin Cooey. You know, only half the team is returning. Well, not returning because they didn't go last year, but it's half the same team. So, you know, they have new player, BJ Neufeld, and another new player, Colton Flash. Colton Flash played with Steve Laycock for a few years, and BJ Neufeld has had a lot of experience in the Brier. So, you know, I think that makes up for their other half of the team last year, so they are fully capable of winning the Brier. And then Team Canada, Brad Gushu. I mean, you can't just say Brad Gushu's had an awesome season. Well, every season is great for Brad Gushu, so, I mean, they're probably going to do well. So Alberta and Gushu, I think, are both going to make the championship round. And then Ontario, Scott McDonald. You know, people that don't follow curling as much as maybe I or you do, don't think much of Scott McDonald, but he has had an awesome season. So he is the underdog, but at the same time, he shouldn't feel like the underdog because he's had an awesome season. So he should be very confident. And then Nova Scotia, Stuart Thompson. I saw him at the Challenge to Curling to Gatineau. He was awesome. Their team made so many shots. It was incredible. They're definitely an up-and-coming team, you know. They're doing great, and they're so young, which is, I love seeing new young teams because it just means the sport is growing so much, especially on the east side, which I'm really happy about. So, you know, I was going to say Jim Cotter, British Columbia, but I haven't seen too much of him. He hasn't been to really any of the slams. So at this point, I think Stuart Thompson has the upper hand against British Columbia, but I'm saying British Columbia is still going to chase them, but I think Stuart Thompson is a bit better than Jim Cotter. And again, Jim Cotter does have Steve Laycock at third, so they do have some experience on there. And then Jamie Cooey from Northwest Territories, you know, two brothers in the same pool, that's always fun, a little competition there. You know, I'd love to see that game. They never show that game, but I always want to see it. So hopefully they show it this year, but Yeah. And then New Brunswick and Nunavut. So it's nice to grow the sport again, but I don't think those teams are going to make the championship round. So in Pool A, Northern Ontario, Wildcard Manitoba, and Quebec I think is going to make the championship round. And then Pool B, Alberta, Team Canada, Ontario, and Nova Scotia is going to make the championship round. I'm actually confident in my picks. You know, Scotty's picks weren't the strongest picks, but yeah, I think these picks are pretty strong. I'm pretty confident in these picks, and my cameraman thinks that Northern Ontario is going to win. So you should comment down your predictions. Disagree, agree, whatever you want to type down there, you can type. Oh, I'm picking Gushu. It's Gushu. Every season's good. He's going to win his third title in a row. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Comment, subscribe, and like.